Qutub Complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Qutub Minar, standing tall at a height of 73 meters, is one of the most iconic landmarks in Delhi, India. Its towering presence offers a glimpse into the grandeur of the Delhi Sultanate and the Indo-Islamic architectural style. The Qutub Minar is an architectural marvel and is the tallest brick minaret in the world. Inception and construction. The construction of the Qutub Minar began in 1193 CE by Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, the founder of the Delhi Sultanate, shortly after his conquest of Delhi. Aibak, a former slave who rose to power, sought to establish the power of Islam in India through this grand monument. The purpose of the Qutub Minar was to serve both as a victory tower and a minaret for the nearby mosque, the Qutb-ul-Islam Mosque. However, Aibak's sudden death in 1210 left the tower incomplete, and his successor, Iltutmish, continued the construction. The minar was completed around 1220 CE, with its final height reaching a remarkable 73 meters. Why the ruins? Over time, Qutub Minar underwent several modifications, including the addition of a top floor by Firoz Shah Tughlaq in the 14th century. However, the structure suffered damage from natural disasters and human interventions. The most significant damage occurred in 1803, when the minaret was struck by lightning, leading to the collapse of the top floor. Though the tower was partially restored by the British in the 19th century, it still bears marks of this ruinous event. Another reason for its state of partial ruin lies in the destructive forces of time and neglect, alongside environmental factors like erosion. Despite its deteriorated state, the Qutub Minar stands as a testament to the era of medieval Islamic architecture and remains an important part of Delhi's cultural heritage. The minaret is meticulously preserved, and today, it is part of the Qutub Complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Symbolism and importance. The Qutub Minar has a deep historical and cultural significance. It not only symbolizes the military and architectural achievements of the Delhi Sultanate but also reflects the socio-political dynamics of the era. The inscriptions found on the tower provide valuable insights into the reign of the early sultans. The Qutub Minar is also a source of inspiration for numerous poets, artists, and historians who have marveled at its beauty and resilience over the centuries. Location. The Qutub Minar is situated in the Murali area of Delhi, a historic and culturally rich part of the city. The tower stands proudly within the Qutub complex, which also houses other significant monuments, including the Iron Pillar of Delhi and the Alai Darwaza. The Qutub Minar's mix of historical intrigue, architectural brilliance, and its unique place in Delhi's landscape makes it one of India's most cherished landmarks. Design of the Qutub Minar. The Qutub Minar showcases Indo-Islamic architecture, with elements of Persian, Turkish, and Indian styles. The overall design is a blend of traditional Islamic craftsmanship and local Indian architectural influences. Shape and structure. The Qutub Minar is a cylindrical tower, tapering as it rises, with a diameter that gradually decreases from its base to the top. It has 5 distinct stories with balconies at each level. Each of these stories is separated by decorative, projecting corbelled, overlapping rings. The tower is made primarily of red sandstone with intricate carvings and inscriptions. The uppermost portion of the tower, which was damaged and rebuilt after being struck by lightning, features a small cupola, which is less elaborate than the rest of the tower. Decorative elements. The base of the minaret is adorned with intricate carved patterns, including Arabic calligraphy and geometric motifs. The calligraphy is an essential aspect of its design, as it bears inscriptions in Arabic, which is integral to Islamic art and architecture. These patterns also have symbolic significance, as they are meant to reflect the spiritual nature of the monument. Material. The choice of red sandstone in the construction is significant. This material was readily available and was used widely in Delhi during the Sultanate period. Its warm reddish hue also contrasts beautifully with the sky, further accentuating the grandeur of the tower. Inscriptions on the Qutub Minar. The Qutub Minar is known for the inscriptions in Arabic that are etched into the tower's surface. These inscriptions are of immense historical and cultural value, as they provide insights into the identity and achievements of the rulers and the purpose of the monument. Some of the notable inscriptions include inscriptions by Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, 1193. The earliest inscriptions on the tower were added by Aibak, the founder of the Delhi Sultanate. They primarily focus on celebrating his victory in establishing Islamic rule in northern India. These inscriptions mention the conquest of Delhi and the establishment of the Sultanate as a symbol of triumph for Islam. Inscriptions by Iltutmish, 1220. After Aibak's death, Iltutmish, his successor, continued the work and added more inscriptions. These later inscriptions talk about the completion of the tower, as well as the power and legitimacy of the Sultanate under Iltutmish's rule. They also reference his contributions to the expansion of Islam and the consolidation of the Sultanate's authority. Inscriptions by Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 14th century. The topmost section of the Qutub Minar was rebuilt by Firoz Shah Tughlaq in the 14th century. His inscriptions explain the restoration and highlight his role in the minar's preservation. Firoz Shah also commissioned the construction of several other monuments in Delhi, which earned him a place in the history of the Sultanate. Meaning of the inscriptions. The inscriptions on the Qutub Minar carry a multi-layered message. The messages conveyed through these inscriptions can be divided into several key themes. Legitimacy of Islamic rule. One of the primary purposes of the inscriptions is to assert the legitimacy of the Delhi Sultanate. By emphasizing the victory of the rulers over the previous Hindu kingdoms, the inscriptions signal the triumph of Islam. The inscriptions reflect the cultural and political context of the time, which was characterized by military conquest and the establishment of Islamic rule in India. Celebration of victory and conquest. The inscriptions commemorate the military victories of the rulers, particularly the early sultans like Qutb-ud-Din Aibak. The construction of such a grand structure served as a visual marker of the Sultanate's power and dominance, a victory monument that would stand the test of time. Faith and divine blessing. Many of the inscriptions include verses from the Quran, signifying the connection between the tower and the spiritual realm. The minaret was not just a symbol of political power but also an embodiment of the faith of the rulers. For instance, the words Allah Akbar, God is great, and other Quranic verses were inscribed as a reminder of divine favor and protection. Symbol of Islam's cultural presence in India. The Qutub Minar also functions as a symbol of Islam in the Indian subcontinent. Through the inscriptions and the monumental nature of the structure, it served to visually reinforce the presence of Islamic culture in a land that had been predominantly Hindu before the Sultanate's rise. The Quranic verses engraved on the tower aimed to strengthen the connection between religion, political authority, and architecture. Call for reflection and reverence. The Qutub Minar was also a place of reflection and reverence. The inscriptions weren't merely celebratory, they also conveyed moral and religious messages. The Quranic verses, in particular, called for the audience to reflect on divine grace and the importance of justice, righteousness, and faith. In an era where public monuments were often used as a tool for education and moral guidance, the Qutub Minar likely served this purpose as well. Message to the people of the time. The Qutub Minar, with its towering height and ornate inscriptions, was designed not only as a victory tower but as a powerful statement to the people of that era. It conveyed several key messages: divine power and authority. The monument reinforced the message that the ruler's authority was divinely ordained. Through the Quranic verses and the monumental nature of the tower, the Sultan's reign was seen as a manifestation of divine will. Strength and resilience of the Sultanate. The Qutub Minar was meant to impress upon the people the strength, stability, and endurance of the Sultanate, even in times of conflict or change. The triumph of Islam. It was also a symbol of the victory of Islam in India, marking the shift from Hindu rule to Muslim dominance in the region. This message would have resonated deeply with the Muslim population while asserting the power of the Sultanate over its non-Muslim subjects. The eternal nature of Islamic culture. Through its towering height and intricate design, the Qutub Minar was a reminder that Islamic civilization would endure, far outlasting the rulers themselves. The message was clear: the cultural, religious, and political influence of Islam in India was meant to be lasting and eternal. In essence, the Qutub Minar is not just a remarkable work of architecture, it is a historical document in stone, a symbol of power, and a spiritual marker for the people of the time. Its inscriptions were carefully crafted to convey the legitimacy of the ruling regime, the endurance of Islamic faith, and the divine protection afforded to the Sultanate. It is a monument that continues to speak to us, revealing both the ambitions and the ideals of the Delhi Sultanate. Iron Pillar in Delhi. The Iron Pillar is thought to have been constructed during the Gupta Empire, around the 4th century CE, by a ruler named Chandragupta II, also known as Vikramaditya. The inscription on the pillar mentions a king named Chandragupta, and scholars generally associate it with him. It was likely erected as a victory monument or as part of a Hindu temple. The pillar has been remarkably resistant to rust and corrosion for over 1,600 years. The reason behind this unusual resistance is due to the unique composition of the iron. The ancient blacksmiths who crafted it used a technique that resulted in the formation of a thin layer of protective oxide on the surface. This layer, mainly composed of iron phosphate, effectively prevents further corrosion by protecting the iron from moisture and other elements in the atmosphere. The high phosphorus content in the iron also played a key role in this self-healing process. High phosphorus content. The iron used to make the pillar is high in phosphorus, a characteristic that, along with a specific manufacturing technique, allowed the creation of a protective layer. This layer not only prevents rusting but also continues to regenerate itself if damaged. Atmospheric conditions. The environmental conditions in Delhi, including the relatively dry weather, might also contribute to preserving the pillar's integrity. As mentioned earlier, it was constructed during the 4th century CE, under the rule of Chandragupta II. The exact date isn't clear, but scholars estimate it was erected around 402 CE. Yes, the iron pillar predates the Qutub Minar by several centuries. The Qutub Minar was built in the early 13th century by Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, whereas the iron pillar stands as a testament to ancient Indian metallurgy long before that time. The iron pillar is an impressive artifact that showcases ancient India's advanced metallurgical knowledge. It continues to spark curiosity among scientists and historians to this day.